webinar, we are going to talk about how can you salvage your investment in Discoverer. Discoverer is a tool which we have been very lovingly using for last so many years, almost more than a decade. And now it's coming to a point where it's about to be de-supported by Oracle, or it will go into extended support. And there are options available for you to really think about moving Discoverer over to a new platform that Oracle has released called Oracle BI Cloud Services. So what we will be discussing today is why you should migrate, what is BI Cloud Services, and I'm going to show you a live demonstration of BI Cloud Services and also talk about the migration process. And then we will talk about what Apps Associate offerings are in terms of how to expedite your migration, almost cut your migration time in half while giving your users the same business functionality through BICS, which they have in Discover. So with that, let me give a very quick overview of Apps Associates. Now that we have lost some time, we will quickly jump into the core presentation. So we are a company who are headquartered right out of Boston in Massachusetts, but we have offices across the country, several other countries as well. And when it comes to business intelligence, it's a very core to our business. We started the practice almost when around 2007, and since then have been a very successful implementation partner and have several success stories. As Apps Associates, we engage in projects, everything from doing an assessment to deployment, and finally the implementation, the support, or any optimization that you may need. And we are not just a BI company, we are a multi-pillar company who certainly does business intelligence, everything around it, but a lot of work around ERP applications, cloud applications, managed services, CRM. And when we look at a BI project, it's a team which is a combination of technical BI folks and also functional folks. It's very important that there are functional people who are on the team who can talk to your business to really understand what your business requirements are. A BI project is not a technical project. It's a very functional project. When it comes to a platform, we have done implementations from Amazon Cloud Services, using that as infrastructure cloud to host your BI environments. BI Cloud Services is what we will talk today. And then also on engineered systems from Oracle, be it an Oracle database appliance or be it Analytics, and certainly on-premise. So that's a general overview of Apps Associates. And so let's try to understand about why you should think about migrating Discover. It's a tool which has been there for a long time, but to give you an idea, okay, from some general things we do in the life, think of a situation, right? If today, right, how far the technology has come across. Given a choice, would you go and buy a desktop or a laptop with multiple peripherals, or would you like to have a tablet? It could be an iPad or the Samsung tablet or the Microsoft tablet. They can suffice a lot of functions that you do. It's easy to install, easy to work with, and pretty much give you all the functionality. It locks you from sitting on your desk and working. It gives you that mobility feature. Talking about mobility, given a choice today, which type of a cell phone would you like to look at? A cell phone on the right, which is a flip phone, certainly serves a purpose. We have been using these for several years until the smartphones came into picture. So the beauty of a smartphone is that your updates can be pushed down, the new functionality can be pushed down, you can install new applications, so the device never gets outdated. It just keeps providing you more and more services as the time goes by. It's very same concept on the BI Cloud Services, where you may sign up for a certain type of services today, but as Oracle evolves new features, they get pushed down to you, and they show up on your desktop or in your servers like the next day or day after, whenever it's pushed out. So you are not in the process of applying any patches to upgrade. It's all maintained by Oracle. So it gives you a lot of benefits when you think about a cloud-based BI environment. Similarly, another example here is the image on the left was just a few years back, we would go to a bank to deposit a check. Right, long lines, you go on the lunchtime and you're just waiting for hours to get a check deposited. Now you can do a check deposit on your smartphone. You can take a picture and it gets deposited. So when you do that function on your smartphone, you assume that everything is secure. You assume that the image going from your smartphone over the telecom network to the bank, to their servers is all secure, right? Today the cloud, Oracle Cloud provides you very secure data. There are a lot of manuals, a documentations available on Oracle website which can talk about specific securities that Oracle Cloud offers. So security really should not be a concern. And finally, when we talk about cloud, a very common example I like to give is, think of electricity. Your on-prem solution is like you having your own generator in your backyard. You are using to generate your own electricity. You have to maintain it, you have to expand it, make sure it is running. If it breaks, brings your whole system down. Or you just turn on the switch, electricity shows up in your house, you use it, you pay for what you use, you don't pay. If you don't use it, you don't pay. If you go on an extended vacation, your electricity bill is far less than when you are using it. So a combination of looking at the various things from our daily life. Everything on the left is how things used to happen, and everything on the right is the new way, the way we do a lot of things. We can really draw parallels between what on-prem Discoverer is to what the BI Cloud Service is from Oracle. So just to highlight some key points, that when we look at Discoverer, when we look at an on-prem install of Discoverer, it involves quite a lot of setup. It does one purpose, just a report. You cannot expand beyond what it provides. It gives you same kind of user interface. If a new feature comes, which none are going to come as you go forward because there's no more development going on, it's less productive in this day and age. When it came out, it was really very good. Believe it or not, the first version of Discoverer came out around 99 or 2001 time frame, along with e-business suite. But Discoverer has been around as an independent reporting tool even before that. If you run into an issue with Discoverer, that problem could be unique to you. So you have to apply a patch yourself, or Oracle has to find a solution for your problem. It makes your installation unique because it's on-prem. On the other hand, when we look at any cloud-based solution, in this case we look at BI Cloud Services, it's very easy to install and start. You essentially sign up for the service and it's available to you. Alan Lee is going to talk more about BICS and talk about how do you go about provisioning it. I talked about as new features are released, they are pushed onto you, so you have them available without having to wait for that feature as a patch to be implemented. So overall, it makes you very productive, not only from the support and infrastructure point of view, but giving that functionality back to your business users. You just consume the data, you pay for what you use. You're not buying like processor licenses. It's really the license you're buying for BI Cloud Services is very per user based SaaS type of licenses. It's always there. You can access from any device, any geography, wherever you want. So it's really the modern way of doing reporting is what BI Cloud Services provides to you. So here's an example, and this is an example we will talk through the entire presentation here. On the left-hand side is a Discoverer report which focuses on AR transactions for a customer. And on the right-hand side is a report, same report, developed in the BI Cloud Services. So apart from pretty colors, shaded lines, there's a lot more than BI Cloud Services provides. As an example, so in this webinar, we are going to talk about how can you salvage your investment in Discoverer. Discoverer is a tool which we have been very lovingly using for last so many years, almost more than a decade. And now it's coming to a point where it's about to be de-supported by Oracle, or it will go into extended support. And there are options available for you to really think about moving Discoverer over to a new platform that Oracle has released called Oracle BI Cloud Services. So what we will be discussing today is why you should migrate, what is BI Cloud Services, and I'm going to show you a live demonstration of BI Cloud Services and also talk about the migration process. And then we will talk about what Apps Associate offerings are in terms of how to expedite your migration, almost cut your migration time in half while giving your users the same business functionality through BICS, which they have in Discoverer. So with that, let me give a very quick overview of Apps Associates. Now that we have lost some time, we will quickly jump into the core presentation. So we are a company who are headquartered right out of Boston in Massachusetts, but we have offices across the country, several other countries as well. And when it comes to business intelligence, it's a very core to our business. We started the practice almost when around 2000s of data to find out what I'm needing. So wouldn't it be nice if I can give the answers to those questions to you in a form of a summary table or a chart with the ability to drill down? And not only that, I give you a lot of self-service reporting features where you as an end user can create ad hoc reports, which are very graphical in nature also. And I'm going to show you creating a report as a tabular report and then also as a graphical report. So with that, let me pass it over to Alan and let Alan talk about what is BI Cloud Services, and then I'm going to follow up with the migration process. Alan?
Thanks, Kshitij. So we're very excited about BI Cloud Service here at Oracle, and a number of our customers are as well. So what I wanted to do in the next few minutes is to briefly describe what the BI Cloud Service is. The BI Cloud Service is a platform service that allows organizations to build rich reporting and analysis capabilities over the cloud. It's built on proven BI technology that's been delivered to over 1 million users. Included with the BI Cloud Service is the Oracle Database Cloud Service, and this serves as the storage mechanism for your BI data. As well as with the BI Cloud Service, you have built-in support. I'll talk about that a little bit more in detail later. And we've included a number of new innovations for administering and data integration as part of the BI Cloud Service. All this is available to our customers at a per user per month subscription rate. Next slide, please. So why are our customers choosing the BI Cloud Service? For most, the key benefit is quick time to value. All the required capabilities are pre-integrated within a single service. We provide all the user capabilities from dashboarding to ad hoc capabilities to visual discovery capabilities for everyone within the organization, whether it's a work group, whether it's the enterprise. And all the UIs for a given role are really built toward user self-service. Next slide, please. So furthermore, most of our customers see the value of lowest cost of ownership with the BI Cloud Service. As Kshitij described, it's really on-demand access, and what we provide is a proven BI platform, enterprise class, that's delivered on Oracle-owned and operated data centers with the highest security standards. Oracle takes care of all the operational administration tasks, including patching, maintenance, and upgrades, and shoots for 99.5% availability of the service. Next slide, please. So what do you get when you buy a BI Cloud Service subscription? You actually get 2 independent environments, a separate database and a separate BI service. And this is to promote the notion of tested production and having a pre-prod environment for doing development work and production environment where users actually access for their daily use. Again, we shoot for 99.5% availability of the service. And again, Oracle manages all the patching and upgrade for the operation of the service. Next slide, please. So underneath the covers, the BI Cloud Service delivers a powerful dashboard and analysis experience with rich visualizations, a highly interactive experience with dynamic prompting, right-click interactions, pivoting, master detail linking. And under the covers, it's really a full-featured BI engine that can compute the most complex of calculations, including very complex aggregations, very complex filtering rules, the ability to do OLAP-style analytics, and the ability to leverage a hierarchical time series and statistical functions, all made capable by a full-function query engine. Next slide, please. As indicated earlier, we have automatic support for mobile with the BI Cloud Service. So without any additional development, any content that's made available on the BI Cloud Service can be accessible via both iOS and Android devices. The mobile HD application takes advantage of native gesturing, so swipe, zoom type gestures to interact with the data that's available in the content developed on the BI Cloud Service. And with the mobile HD application, there is the ability to take some of the content offline with the fine-grained security control of that content that's taken offline. Next slide, please. So really what we aim for with the BI Cloud Service is a user experience which allows both the consumer user as well as the development and admin user to focus on really the important task of deploying an application on BI Cloud Service and using an application on the cloud service. We have a number of ways to load data within the BI Cloud Service. Then we have a very simple tool to really organize the data for BI-style analysis. And from a reporting and dashboarding standpoint, it's really a drag and drop experience. And then the content that's developed is quickly distributed to end users via the browser or the mobile device. Next slide, please. So with that quick summary, I'll turn it back over to Kshitij to describe the Discover migration to BICS process.
Thank you, Alan. So now, with the background of BI Cloud Services, let me talk to you and walk you through on how would you migrate from Discoverer over to BICS, talk through a couple of slides, and then jump into the live product and show you some of the reports. So the report we are going to talk today is a report called AR transaction and a customer details report. This is a report that we are going to see in the BICS environment. Process-wise, what happens is when you start a migration process, it's not just a technical process. So you have to first identify what reports are you trying to migrate. Over the years, you would have accumulated several duplicate reports. So how do you clean them up? You don't want to take every single Discoverer report and build it into this environment. There's a lot of cleanup that has to go on. So you identify what those reports are. Once you have identified the reports, you identify what the base Discoverer views and tables those reports are going after. So once you have that inventory, then you need to decide, should I create a new view for BICS purposes, or should I stay with my existing Discoverer views? Okay, so if you have to create a new view, you go and create a new view in your EBS, in your source system. All of that is happening on EBS. So far, we have not talked about what happens on the cloud services. So the middle and the bottom rows are the processes which are going to happen on the cloud. So once I have the data, or once I have the views defined in my source system, I designed a model, a set of tables, a star schema on the BICS database. And this BICS database becomes my destination, and my Discoverer views become my source. And then using the mechanisms that Alan talked about, it could be SQL Developer, it could be Excel files, it could be REST APIs. I use those to migrate the data from my EBS over to the Discoverer database, BI Cloud Services database. Once it's in the BI Cloud Services database, I use that to deliver reports through the BI Cloud Services dashboard. So for that, now I go into the BICS BI environment and I create a model. So model essentially is nothing but it's exposing your tables to your end users. It's very much similar to your Discoverer EUL, where you expand a business folder and you see the fields available. Exactly same concept. And then build security. And finally, you can start creating your reports and workbooks. So that's a very seamless process that you would go through to migrate Discoverer over to BI Cloud Services. So just to quickly summarize, identify the views and reports you want from your Discoverer environment, create a schema on the BICS database, load the data from the views over to the BICS database, and then expose the fields in the BICS BI environment to create your Discoverer type reports. So broadly, 3-4 steps is what we have to go through. And later in the presentation, we'll talk about how we at Apps Associates have automated majority of this so you can expedite your migration process. So here's an example, same report. That report is coming out of 5 views. Okay, the views are around AR invoices, transactions, customers, customer sites, and location. And in my particular case, the middle column shows you the base Discoverer views, okay? And the rightmost column shows you the view which has been customized. So in my scenario, the customer site and the customer location view has been summarized. So it's very important that when I'm migrating, I not only look at the out-of-the-box base views, but I also look at what the custom views are, and then start creating my migration process. So I identify my tables, identify my views, and then I essentially create a table in the BICS database. So in this case, I've created a table called BICS customer bill to, and that's this customer bill to is essentially getting data from a Discoverer view which captures the bill to information for the customer. Okay, so I create that, and then on top of this BICS database, I'm going to create the list of fields that I'm going to report out of. So on the right-hand side, you see the various folders available for me to report off of. So in the middle of the screen, you would see AR transactions, inventory item, payments, and each of these folders, once you open up, is going to give you the list of fields. So here's an example of how your Discover business area is mapping to your BICS subject area. So slight difference in terminology, but essentially the function is the same. So if you look at the leftmost image, I'm looking at my Discoverer administrator, I'm looking at my EUL, and I'm seeing my AR invoices, AR transactions, folders, business areas, which I use to create reports. And if I open up AR transactions, it gives me the list of fields available for report. And on the right-hand side, you are seeing the same BICS AR transactions and the fields available for reporting purposes. So very comparable in how it works, and that also makes the learning curve very short for your end users. Yes, it's a new tool. Few things are different. It's a lot more advanced, but the basics of report creation, they remain pretty much the same between Discover and your BICS migration. And once I have the list of fields, exactly in Discover, I would essentially do a double click on a field, and the field is going to show up in my designer pane. And in this case, I see that from the customer bill to folder, I have picked customer name, customer number, city, state. From inventory items, I picked up item number, item description. That's my design layout. I click on the run button, and I get my Discover report. Now, everything behind the scenes that we saw about creating the model, creating the fields, is all done by IT. Your business people are going to see the screen, which is essentially the list of subject areas, the list of fields, and they can drag and drop and create your own reports. You can create most of them for them, but then they can do a lot of self-service reporting by themselves. Okay? So at this time, let me log into the live BICS environment and walk you through some of the scenarios and some of the functionality that BICS provides. And after that, we'll talk about accelerators and the value proposition. So I'm switching over to the BICS environment. And here's my report that we were looking at. I hope it's not timed out. Good, we are good here. So this is, I'm in the BICS environment, what you have is a dashboard. I'm looking at an account receivables dashboard right now. And this dashboard has 3 pages. The first one called transaction details, revenue details, and aging. So the transaction details page has a tabular report, which essentially duplicates my Discover report as it is, along with the prompts on the top, the year, the operating unit, the customer, and whatnot. So when we work with the customer, we ask them, okay, Mr. Customer, you use this report in Discover. What do you use it for? What questions are you trying to find out the answers for this report? Okay? So if we go through that process, we go through report rationalization, we understand the requirement of the report, and then we do is we try to create those answers to those questions in a much more summarized in the graphical manner. So let me walk you through some of them. So as I scroll down, I have a pie chart and a bar chart here. And what these are focused on are my return order analysis, the items which are coming in. And I'm able to look at the information by return reason, by customer. So in this case, I can see that majority of my customers are returning products because I'm shipping them late. Okay, 23% of them are receiving my products which are products what are damaged. On the right hand side, I can see a chart which shows me my return quantity versus the return amount by customer. I can look at the same information by product, that which products are having the most returns and for what reason. So here in this case, I see 35 of my products are getting damaged. 20% times I'm sending a wrong product to the customer. 27% of the time, that's almost 1/3 of the time, I'm not even delivering a product. So you see how easily it is helping me to identify a problem on the same report which is available up here. So features like this can make the analysis a lot more productive. Now when any report that you have in BICS, you have multiple options to export. You can export as PDF, Excel, create a PowerPoint. The beauty of PowerPoint is once you extract, the report can automatically keep getting refreshed every time you open up the PowerPoint. So you don't have to keep extracting it again and again. BICS provide you an MS Office plugin to do a lot of this type of reporting. Let's look at some other things around revenue details. So this is a dashboard, or this is a page which is more designed for a lot of analytical reporting on the same Discoverer report. So I provide you some prompts here, year, month, customer, country, and I have a visualization here called a tree map, which is showing me two metrics for my orders. The size of the box shows me the ordered quantity, and the color of the box shows me the revenue amount. Okay, so I can see that Smart Buy is my largest customer, not only in terms of quantity, but also in terms of the revenue amount. If I look at Goodway and Sunshine Electricity, I see that the order quantity is pretty much the same, but the revenue amounts are different in them. So this helps me to analyze and focus on things. I could have created the same chart for returns. So who is my largest buyer and who is having the most returns? I can do the same thing around customer satisfaction. So very easily, my eyes can focus on the areas that I need to address on. Here are the two charts which are focused on the top N analysis. Who are my top 5 customers of products? Who are my bottom 5 customers of products? And the beauty of BICS is that you can give people different ways of looking at the same information. This was by product. So I see my television is the top product. If I want to look at by customer, I can certainly look at by customer. I can look at by geography. I can look at it by salesman, any of the dimensions. And that's the reason why 10 of your Discoverer reports may turn out to be one report in BICS, leveraging features of BICS. So your maintenance, overhead, everything goes down significantly. So in this case, I'm looking at my customers. I can provide different views also. I can look at graphs, or I can look at table. And I can provide as long list as I want. It could be a pivot table, it could be 5 different types of charts. No matter what, you can give several features and functionality to your end users. And the last one I want to show you is around aging. So I'm focused around how well are customers paying to me. So two things I'm going to show you here is one is instead of just tables and graphs, you can create some narratives. So in this case, I have a narrative which says computer service and rentals, they rank number 1 with a due amount of $424,000. These can act as a comments that you can essentially publish on your dashboards. Peter Norris ranks number 4 with a due amount of 2. Anything you want, you can create those narratives. And here's a very good analysis on the rightmost chart table we are looking at. It's called year-over-year revenue and order analysis. So by product, what it is showing me is that between 2 years, from 2013 to 2014, how has the number of orders been, and what the revenue has been for those orders. Okay, so I can clearly see that my dealer's desktop in 2013 was ordered far more times than what it was ordered in 2014. And then I have a flag which basically marks wherever I have a hotspot. Let's look at this information by customer, because I want to see, are my customers still ordering from me or not? So AC Networks ordered 370 units from me last year, and this is only 23. And if I see, most of my customers are ordering far less than what they had ordered. So this 10-line report shows me a trend that something is really wrong that is happening in my environment, that customers are not ordering. And then we saw the return reason report that products are either damaged or they're receiving it late. And now you can do the analysis as to why the products are being received late. And you may find out that the products are late. That's why your payments are late. Your AR is due because products are getting shipped late. And when you do analysis, you find that you as a company are not paying your vendors on time, the suppliers on time, so you are not getting goods on time. So you're not manufacturing on time. So you're not shipping on time, so you don't get the payment on time. So your AR problem could very well be an AP problem. So having the ability to do reporting, analysis, drill down across all these processes creates an environment where you can find a problem and then act on it, versus having to go through running one report after the report, exporting, trying to link it together, and making some sense out of it. Okay? So two more things I want to show you around Discover features. I'm going to switch to human resources for a minute. And there I'm going to show you creation of a new report, how easy that is, and a really good feature that BICS provides where you can mash up your Excel data, your own Excel as an end user with your enterprise data. Okay, so here's a dashboard which we are looking at for HR, all pre-built as an accelerator by App Associates here. So you can take your Discoverer reports for HR and essentially map to what you're seeing on the screen. So let's look at a report here. This is called year-over-year job salary analysis. And my job name and my average salary, these two columns are coming from my EBS HR. Okay. As an HR department, I want to do an analysis of how well am I paying my employees as per the market. So I do a market survey every 6 months, every 4 months, and I want to do the analysis. Traditionally, I would export this data out into an Excel and then get the data from some website and do a mashup on my Excel file and keep it with me. I'm going to show you in BICS how I can reverse the whole process where I can load the data from my Excel to the data warehouse and make it available for analysis to a much broader audience. So there is a feature here called data loader, and you can control it based on the security, who can do this or not. So it's a wizard, a 4-step wizard, which is going to say, okay, I want to load some data, and I'm going to pick a file to load the data from. So I have my market salary survey sitting in an Excel file, and the file has 3 columns: the year 2013, the job role, and the market salary. And I'm going to load this into a table in the data warehouse now. All I am doing as an end user. So I'm going to add it into an existing table, which is already created for me. It's called market salary. Click next. Oops, I clicked too soon. I click next. Next. And it's going to tell me that 293 records have been loaded without any errors. Okay, data loaded. I come back to my report and I click refresh. And when I click refresh, the market salary column gets populated from my Excel file. And I had also created a variance formula to show me in which areas I am paying my employees less in the market. So it's very easily visible to me that for a consultant and for a marketing manager, I'm underpaying these 2 job roles. Okay, tremendous power when you can take your data and mash it up. And my last example to show you is how easy is it to create reports in BICS. So you can compare what you do in Discoverer, and you can get a visual of the learning curve that someone may have to go through to create reports in BICS here. So I'm going to go and create a new report, which in BICS world is called analysis. And it's going to be an HR report, which is going to focus on looking at employees, number of employees by age group across various locations. We are going to create a tabular report, and then we will create a waterfall chart on top of that. Okay, so see what steps I go through here. So I'm going to look for a folder which stores my age information. So this is an age band folder, and I want age band description. I double click, it shows on the right hand side. Okay, then I'm looking for information by year. So I want year, double click, I get the year. Then I'm looking for number of employees. I don't want employee numbers, I want a count of employees. Okay, so I'm going to go edit the formula, apply a function which is an aggregate function, and I want to do a distinct count. No programming, I'm just clicking around. And I want to change the column heading from employee number to employee count. Okay, so I got that. Formula is applied. And the last thing I want is in which business location these folks are from. So I basically pick up business location name. 4 columns, easy and simple, and I click on results. And it's going to create a tabular report for me. So there it is. Okay. So age band, year, employee, business location. I can move the fields around, so it's much easier for me to analyze. I want year my first field. I want business location as my second field. And here it is. So I'm looking at by year, by business location, by age group, how many employees do I have? Very simple tabular report. Now let me show you how to create a graphical report on top of that. It's an option which says new view, and I'm going to pick up. BICS can tell you based on your data set what's a good visualization, but in this case, I want to pick something which I'm looking for specifically. And instead of building a very traditional pie chart or a line chart report, I'm going to create something which is slightly more complicated and build a waterfall report. And based on my data set, it's going to create a report for me. And again, you will see there's no programming required for me to build these reports. So here's a report which shows me my number of employees by year, and it created two prompts for me, age band and business location. I can certainly go and change it to something which is more useful to me. And what I'm going to do now is drag and drop certain fields so I can do analysis in a different manner. So instead of seeing the count by year, I want to see count by age band. So I swap those fields, and I want year to show as a slider, and I'm going to show you what a slider is. So now if you look at the report here, I have one drop-down box which shows me my business. I can pick which one I want. I see my count as a waterfall by years, and I have a slider prompt here which shows me 2 years in this case, and which in a very nice animated fashion I can see how my data changes from 1 year to other year. So in 2013, I have folks who are over 60 years also. Okay, all drag and drop. I can save this and I can publish it. Really no programming involved, very, very intuitive way of reporting. So I hope you got a flavor of the capabilities that BICS does, how easy it is to create the reports, how similar it is to Discoverer. And with that, let me go back to the presentation and talk about what we have built as Apps Associate as an accelerator on top of BICS. So we looked at this migration process, right, before the demonstration. You identify the reports, build the views, build the schema in BICS, load the data, do the modeling in BI, and create the reports. So what we have done at Apps Associate is we've essentially built processes to identify your base views, because we don't know what your customizations are, but at least 70–80% you probably are using out of the box Discoverer with some changes here and there. So we identify those views. We have built a schema in BICS database which maps to those views. We have built the programs to load the data. We have done the modeling in BICS. We have exposed the fields for reporting, and we have built some reports that we think are the most commonly used reports across HR, finance, procurement, whatnot. So the fact that so much of automation has been done really reduces your time, okay, to almost half what it would take if you do it by yourself. And throughout this process, one thing which is very important is that you cannot lose the functionality. Your project will be successful only if people are able to do their job with BICS exactly the same way they were doing it when it was Discoverer. And when I say exactly, meaning they have access to the same kind of data, but they are more productive now, because BICS can provide them a lot more way of analyzing the data and finding problems. But you cannot put them in a situation where they say, well, I used to get this field in Discoverer, it's no longer available to me in BICS. You don't want to make their life harder. So it's very important that a lot of due diligence is done in identifying those reports and mapping it over to BICS. And that's where we have done a lot of heavy lifting for you. So when you look at an accelerator from Apps Associates, what you get is essentially a set of methodology for identifying, okay, which we tune to what your requirements are. And then we provide you pre-built reports and metrics, a pre-built schema for your Discoverer views. We provide you the extract programs for your EBS, for both incremental loads and the full loads, fields, and also the security from EBS. So all of it is part of an accelerator. It could be finance, could be AR, could be HR, procurement, doesn't matter. So here's an example of procurement, just to quickly walk you through. So you essentially mapped up an entire procurement process from acquisition to payment and built the reports, which are most commonly done by any organization. In Discoverer as an example in this case. So across the acquisition, 3–4 reports, purchase orders. But beyond these reports, we are essentially giving a lot of fields for reporting. So all the mapping of your Discover view fields to the BICS field has been done. Okay, so you don't have to create all of this on your own. And just keep thinking about if you were doing yourself, how much of an effort would be going in. So all the focus will go on is to create the reports which are specific to you, but all the underlying work has been done. So here's an example of the procurement spend analysis dashboard that can be created on top of your procurement Discover views or reports, with giving you some analysis on spend by item, spend by organization, some KPIs around who your top spend folks are, what's your spend by category, spend by supplier, spend by cost centers, how much spend is happening beyond purchase orders. And once again, I want to make sure that you understand, even though I'm showing you all these graphical analytic reports, BICS is very capable of creating all transactional reports as tabular also. And a lot of customers start at that point. Just give a one for one. But this is where you can get to with BICS. So when we look at accelerators from Apps Associates, we have accelerators across HR, finance, procurement. We are working on a few others. And each accelerator essentially would give you about a dozen reports, reporting fields, security, okay, that we all map back to your Discoverer. So in a way, a combination of all these processes that you see is very common for any organization. And some of you may be familiar with what BI applications are from Oracle. And if not, essentially what you get is you're getting like an analytic system all available to you in Oracle Cloud, where you can drill down from AP to AR to finance to HR, wherever you want, because it's all an integrated solution. Okay, it's not siloed to just one department in your organization. For implementation, you may start with just finance or with just HR, but as you implement these module by module, they all talk to each other to give you that business feasibility. So here's an example of how it works. So going back to the AR example. So you have a customer with high AR, and you're checking the last order the customer placed. So if a customer hasn't paid me $1 million, and the last order was last month, he's still an active customer. But if a customer didn't pay me $1 million, but the last order was 8 months back, the problem is different. My solution is different. But to resolve that problem, I have to go through finance, HR, procurement, inventory, rebate management, so many solutions. So my AR problem can have 3 possible solutions. The first one is I may have a lazy clerk who is not collecting money. Okay, so I'm looking at my AR clerk, looking at the workload, how many customers he's working with, finding the manager and managing the workload. A very HR and AR centric problem. Or I'm going into my supplier side from AR into AP, looking at the shipments, the returns, like the scenario I talked about, and checking the supplier status. Am I getting goods on time? And the third thing I can do is, based on all the information I've collected, I can think of giving some rebates to my customers who are not ordering on time. But I need approval for those rebates. So how fast can I find those customers? How fast can I process the rebate, and how fast can I get it approved and pass it over to customer? It's all very time sensitive. Every day you are not doing analysis on your customers like this. It's a day when that customer might be calling someone else instead of you. So if you have an integrated solution across all the platforms, if you have business analytics, the fact that the data is integrated will give you a deep insight into your business. Okay, so that's something which is a very powerful feature that you can develop on BICS. So across Apps Associates, what we have done is we have looked at various processes, various systems, and built accelerators. The most common areas that we have seen across customers. So we looked at the back office processes. We looked at finance. We looked at HR. We have also built Discover to Migration Accelerator, the one that we discussed. There's a Brio to BICS Migration Accelerator. There's an accelerator for SBIS to BICS. How do you take SBIS data or your planning and budgeting cloud data over to BICS? All the security integration, automation of data loads, and some others which are work in progress. The product just came out in October. So since then till now, a lot of work has been done, and our first accelerator was out within 3 weeks of the product when it became GA. So just to close it, we are on a 10-minute mark. Just to close it, going back to the memory lane, right? I started with, do you want a cell phone or do you want a like a flip phone? On the right-hand side, you see some versions of when Discover came out, and some technical things that hopefully we can relate to.
So when Discoverer 9i came out, that was in 2002. Okay, so there was no iPad, no smartphone, no BlackBerry at that time. In 2003, 10G came out. Okay, at that time, cloud was not there, and there was no Twitter, no Facebook. Even the micro SD card did not exist in 2003. 11G Discoverer came out in 2009. That's when the 3G spectrum, the 3G was just starting. Now we are on LTE. There were no 3G TVs, there was no iPad, and cloud was just about to start. So just to give you an idea, based on which version you are on, that's how long the product has been out there. Things have changed tremendously since then. And it's really time for you to think about how best you can optimize your users so they can have a much, much more modern tool to work with than what they're working on with now. It's a comfort factor. Yes, they're used to it. But behind that comfort factor, there is a lot of unproductivity which is going on, which can really turn your organization around if you go to a modern tool like BICS, the agility it provides and the price point it provides. So if you look at the ROI for BICS, moving away from an unsupported system, it's a fast provisioning, fully managed software, very operational investment. And if you use accelerators from Apps Associates, your deployment becomes rapid. It is self-service, better root cause analysis. There's so many benefits of having a system which is integrated and gives you a lot of insight. So if you want to understand more around what the direction for Discoverer is going forward, there's a document, there's a 4 or 5 page PDF file available from Oracle, which is a March 2014 document, and talks about the similar direction. Just so that you can quickly find it, do a Google search for Oracle's statement of direction for Discoverer. And in my case, it was the first link, but hopefully it shows up on the first page. And you will see the PDF file which talks about what the direction is, and it also talks about when does your support end, when does the premier support, when does the extended support, all that content is there. So it is a good guide for you to start planning on what you would like to do. So with that, we open up for questions, and hopefully the last 40 minutes gave you a good idea of what BICS is, how the migration works, what value proposition Apps Associate provides, and more than that, for your organization, it at least stirred some thought around why you should be thinking differently beyond Discoverer. Julian, we can take questions now.
Thank you, Kshitij and Alan. That was an excellent presentation. And we've had a lot of questions that have come in through the last 45 minutes. A lot of people have asked about getting a copy of the slides or a copy of the recording itself. And everyone who registered for the WebEx will receive an email in the next day or two with a link to the recording and a copy of the slides that you have used today. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that. The first question came in quite early on in the WebEx, and it was, will BICS be able to use my old Discoverer views, whether I built the views myself or whether I bought them from a third-party company?
Yeah, BICS can use Discoverer views. So if you see, we are essentially building a database in BICS, which will pull the data from whatever views you have on your EBS system. So if you have views, let's say from Oracle, which is part of Discoverer, let's say you had Noetics views, which you don't use, let's say Noetics' whole product, any of those can become a source, and the data can be fed from those views over to the BICS database. And we can map it to the accelerator that we have, or something custom can be built specific to your environment from those views.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Another question was, Discoverer is a two-dimensional tool and BICS is multi-dimensional. And the question was, what kind of data modeling skills are needed for BICS?
What I would say there is that, one of the points I hopefully made clear was that our goal in providing BICS is self-service, both from an end-user standpoint as well as someone that needs to maintain the application. And as part of that, we've introduced a new self-service UI for the data modeling test, or for modeling out the BI model. and we feel that it's fairly easy to use. It's based on fairly simple concepts of defining dimensions and facts. And with the added fact that if you move to an apps associate solution, a lot of this comes pre-built for you.
Thank you, Alan. Anything to add, Kshitij?
The knowledge that you have on the discoverer end, when it goes to the BICS side, you are still creating a star schema with a fact and a dimensional model, and the tool that Alan talked about makes it all easy. So you are creating a two-dimensional model on the BICS end also to create those reports.
Okay, very good. Thanks. We're running out of time, so I think this will have to be the last question. And if you have any other questions which I didn't have time to ask, please email them directly either to Kshitij or Alan, and you can see their email addresses here on the screen. But this was a question that came in earlier. How does BICS compare to BI apps? And why would I use BICS instead of OBIE or OBIA?
Yeah. So just from the Oracle standpoint, BI Cloud Services really meant to complement either OBIE or in some cases BI apps. Really, the value of the BI Cloud Service is the ability for our customers to stand up a BI content quickly. And the decision point of whether to go with OBIE and OBI apps is really dependent on, what's the reach of the application? Do you have resources to install and implement OBIE? Is the value of the prepackaged content available in BI apps significant for you to go through a full implementation of BI apps? Kshitij, is there anything else you want to add to that?
No, Alan. I think you covered everything.
Well, thank you very much, and we appreciate everyone who attended the webinar today. And this concludes our presentation. Thank you very much.